Well, let's see a few last helpful commands that will help us get around and do a few more advanced things. First of all, if you ever need help with a command, you can always use help and the name of the command. So help copy, help cp, copy. It will give you the full help file for copy. You can also just use copy /?. That's equivalent to the dash, and help is just like man, or similar to the man for the manual command in Linux. Help space in the name of the program. Then copy, or the name of the command line command that you want to use, space /?, will do something similar. So I can take the name of my command, space, and then do a /?. That's the Windows equivalent of the dash help. So you can find out more about any file that you want to use, any command that you want to use in the Windows command prompt. So we'll clear the screen one more time with CLS. And let's run the ping command just like we did in Linux. In fact, it's the same command, ping google.com. And you may get an error like this. Sometimes when we've set up our VirtualBox, we need to refresh the networking. You need to check two quick things. First of all, make sure that you are connected to the NAT. We'll do more with the networking in the next section, but for right now, make sure that you've got your NAT connected. And then come down to the bottom of your window and make sure that you've got the Connect Network Adapter checked. You can double check your network settings, but that should be okay. Then we're going to do an IP config, and we'll check, and well, reconnecting worked there. If you ever come in and you're not able to connect after toggling this Connect Network Adapter on and off, then you can do an IP config /renew in Windows. So IP config is telling me that I have, in fact, the exact same IP address. That's because of the NAT networking that we have set up right now by default in Oracle VirtualBox. We're going to see how to repair that in our next section on the virtual network setup. But we have 10.0.2.15, and so now we're able to see out to the internet. If I renew that IP address, it'll still come back with a 10.0.2.15. Good. Now CLS, and I can ping google.com, and now we get a response. I can Control-C to quit, but by default, ping on Windows will only do a count of 4. It'll only do 4 pings. So we've got a ping command. We've seen the IP config. We'll need these IP addresses later on, and we'll be changing this network setup so that we'll have 2 different networks we'll connect to. But we can always find that with an IP config on Windows, IF config on Linux. We know how to get help if we need it. We know how to ping. One last advanced command that's handy sometimes is to do the set command. Set is just like env on Linux, so it tells us all of our environment variables. So I can see my home path is users bpane. Well, one thing that we can't do as easily, if I do cd on Windows, it just tells me my current directory, like my pwd command did back on Linux. It doesn't take me to my user directory like cd space enter does on a Linux box. So there's no graceful way to do this, but I can use my user profile or my, come back up here, home path. And I just have to remember on Linux we had to do a $sign before the environment variable name. In Windows we have to surround it with percent symbols. So if I cd to the root of the file system and I want to get back into my users directory somewhat easily, I can cd space, and then I can either percent user profile or home path. So if I cd into user profile, that environment variable will then tell me that that's users bpane. And I can also echo percent user profile percent, and I can see that that's my home path as well. So some things are a little different in the Linux command line versus Windows, but we've seen that we can make our way around both these command line environments. Check out the PDF file that has these 2 cheat sheets for you for Linux and Windows quick commands, and we'll do a quick review and then we'll set up our virtual labs networking.